So you can hear the 4-year-old chugga chewing in the background here. And I'm supposed to talk on this episode about how it is that you can keep sanity when you have to work and do homeschool. How can you do class at school and be sane? If you have never watched Shonda Rhimes' TED Talk, go for it, because it's the answer. The answer is that you need to play. That's the answer. You need to play. I just gave you the spoiler alert that you only need to be doing this 3 hours a day. That's the victory lap, actually, right? You do not need to be doing this for 7 hours. And then you need to play some. And your kids need to play, but you need to play, because the biggest gift you can give your kids is to show a parent that's joyful living with them. And I'm not trying to undermine mental illness in the slightest, because I have had my share of dealings with that. And I'm not saying to fake it, that you're happy. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying take the time to play with your kids, because that's a huge answer to how in the world do I do this and keep myself alive. You need to have time where there's no expectation, there's nothing getting accomplished, there's just creativity and experiencing the world. So do that. I would also highly recommend observing a holy day, whether it is Friday ushering in with Shabbat, or with a mosque, or Saturday observing the full Shabbat, or a Sunday as a Christian, or a Tuesday because you're a member of the spaghetti universe. Like, go for it, but take a holy day, because you need a day off. You need a day where there are no requirements. And I have had plenty of years where that wasn't possible, but give it a try. It does help a lot. The biggest answer to the question, how in the world can I do this if I have to keep working, is you have full control of the schedule, okay? So I have had scenarios where I was running a farm from 4 in the morning until 11 in the morning. So we didn't do class at school until the afternoon, right? If you have to work a traditional 9-to-5 job, then I would not pretend like your kids are going to get class at school done from 9 to 5. There is nothing wrong with doing class at school from 6 to 9. There is nothing wrong with that. And in fact, if you have things designed from the 9 to 5 hours, some good documentaries that will involve things you're studying in history and science, and perhaps some art production that they can do show and tell with come 6 to 9. That's brilliant. I've done that. I've had those days. The other thing is you can just say enough's enough and take a mental health day. Of all the states that I have lived in, I know no state that is going to monitor the number of hours that you are completing homeschool. So what you need to complete is joy in your home. It's not some minimal number of hours. You're not getting state funding. Sorry, that would be nice. I'm pausing this. I just stopped to get some chips. You want to divide and conquer. If you have a spouse that's in this with you, yeehaw. If you don't, that's fine. I've had years where we have been absolutely sharing homeschool, and years where it's just been me. And he's also had 2 years where it was just him. So if you don't have a spouse, divide and conquer days. If you have 3 children, then, Monday, you're focused on one of your kids. Tuesday, you're focused on the other. Wednesday, you're focused on the third. You're doing collective things all 3 of those days, but you're only going to do focused time with one of those kids on each day. So what I mean by this is, while the other 2 kids are watching a documentary or doing their individual music study, or doing memorize, learning a language, or doing creative writing, or doing art, or one of these many things that they can do on their own, you can work with one-on-one. It doesn't work perfectly. It just doesn't. Kids are bums. Like, they bother you. They interrupt at important times. But it does eventually iron out and work. And the greatest part is when they learn from you how to teach, and they start implementing that with one another. Another element that I really want to mention is, when possible, incorporate your kids in your job. I had the wonderful opportunity of running a nature center an Audubon naturalist nature center for almost 6 years. And there were so many things that my kids could do there. They were all youth naturalists, which was a program that I developed for them basically, so they could go and do all the animal care. All of the service projects that we did were geared towards things that they were interested in. They were open to the community, and there were things my kids could do. There are ways, sometimes, particularly during pandemic, that our children can be involved in our jobs, and perhaps it actually give them a step up in wanting to follow that career themselves. The last thing I'm going to suggest is something that I don't know if you can do right now or not, but it might be worthwhile for you to join forces with other people that are doing CASA school and have a homeschool community. We have had very positive experiences with this and waste of time experiences with this. Some of the times when we've connected with others, they just had a different level of rigor that they were into, or they just had a different subject bases and we didn't really match. Other times, the kids were homeschooling because there's a specific behavioral disability, and that was just something I couldn't bring into what we already had to offer. So sometimes it's a disaster, and sometimes it's your new cousins. They're these new people that are yours and you are theirs, and you inform one another's education. One of the things that I'm really hoping to do with our website is to offer Zoom-in classes at different times of the week. So if we were not able to do these in-person homeschooling gatherings, perhaps we can at least do them digitally. Not suggesting that's a replacement, but just not having that crystal ball to know how long the sickness is going to keep passing around. I do think that one of the things that was really important for me to internalize is it is a gift for children to be doing things independently. I felt like if I'm not looking right over their shoulder, they're not going to do it right. And that means that I am failing them for CASA school. But what they say now, as I'm recording them to share with you, is the independence that they cultivated and the ability that they developed to know that they had the skills that they needed and they could ask at any moment was the greatest gift. So letting them do things on their own because you got to do work, good. They're going to do things wrong. It's okay. They do things wrong at school too. It turns out when a teacher has 25 or 30 students, she can't be over each of their shoulders either. So give yourself some wiggle room and also realize you're teaching them how to balance life. This is a gigantic gift that plenty of kids and adults never master. So if you can figure it out, that in and of itself will be the greatest lesson.